Hello everybody, this is Will Hassel once again, and this video is for pretty much one of my watch lists for this week, and a brief overview of my trading of last week. But for the beginning of this, I would like to start off by saying we have some major events going on this week. We have Twitter's IPO is coming out on Thursday. If you have been paying attention to CNBC or basically any type of news source, you'll know that this has been kind of a big deal just because it's another social media stock. Social media stocks get a lot of momentum, a lot of hubbub, especially Facebook has been on a tear recently. And a lot of big chatter has been going out about the Twitter IPO because Twitter is trying to not have their IPO messed up like Facebook did. They've got 3 investment banks working for their IPO to debut it. The lead underwriter is Goldman Sachs, then it goes JP Morgan, and then finally Morgan Stanley. And another big thing that's different from the Facebook IPO is, unlike Facebook, which listed on the NASDAQ, Twitter is doing it on the New York Stock Exchange, and the New York Stock Exchange expecting heavy volume after seeing what happened with Facebook on their opening day. Actually had a test run this last week to see if these servers could handle all the traffic that they're expecting for the Twitter IPO. Now, I looked up on Scottrade what the total amount of shares are, and it looks like it's going to be 70 million shares, and the price right now is about $17 to $20. Now, I'm not going to get in on the IPO. I don't really play IPOs. I really don't have the cash right now, just free-flowing cash to really get into the IPO. I wouldn't even if I did, though. Some other news, some other events is also on Thursday. We have the US GDP numbers coming out. The previous numbers from, this is all the data on these events I got from Scottrade. It says the previous was 0.6. So I'm guessing that's 0.6%, and the consensus is 1.4%. Looks like that's going to be the maybe the rise, maybe it just said consensus in previous. Then on Friday we have personal income and unemployment numbers. Now these numbers are going to be crucial because government shutdown and all that, just trying to get a better sense of what the economy is doing. For personal income numbers, we have for the previous 0.3, and the consensus for this time is 0.2. Now for unemployment, I'm guessing it gave me both the previous and consensus numbers are going to be 34.5. I have to imagine you times that by 100, so 345,000 jobs added to the sector. Just that's going to be the consensus. It changes a little bit. Pay attention to that because it's going to be very crucial. I think the main things that we're going to see that are going to be very crucial are going to be those GDP numbers and employment, just so we can see what the government shutdown had an effect and to see if the U.S. economy is actually expanding. Other events that I would like to go and say is Tesla is reporting earnings, and I will go and whip them up on a chart right now. And let's just go to the 30-minute 10-day. As we can see, it's been going down quite a bit. I have on different social medias, Twitter have been saying this is in day trader territory, and I really do believe that, just because I've talked about this in a previous watch list. Just all these percentage moves just whipping back and forth. It'll go from a negative 2% move to a positive 2% move. Just these intraday moves that are really unpredictable. Excuse me. There's been some news about some type of new car fire in Mexico. That's the second one that they've had for the Model S. That caused a little bit of trouble in the stock, but it's been going down recently, as you can see. Hit its peak over here at about 88, and now it's finished trading on Friday at 162. Now it hit that high date at October the 15th. So, obviously 15 days in between, but it's dropped pretty much $20 since then, if I remember right from the statistic that I saw on CNBC. It dropped something like 17% this last month. So, earnings, what they're saying is it's reporting on Tuesday. The mean seems to be a profit of 11 cents a share. The high is 24 cents a share, and the low is actually a loss of 3 cents a share. To be completely honest with you, I think we're going to see, I think a good guess is they're going to beat on earnings, and it's going to be around, I just get 16 seems to be about right, because I do believe they had an increase in sales. Looking through the Ford numbers, the Chrysler numbers, and the different automotives, just general sales seem to be picking up. I feel like Tesla got in a hot streak before this whole Model S fire, so I feel like that's what we're really going to be seeing is all the Model S sales before that initial fire. Another earnings play that I would like to bring your attention to this week, as I reset the chart, is Michael Kors. Now, as you guys know that pay attention to me on Twitter, on StockTwits, on my blog, I have been long this stock for a couple weeks now. I got in at right over here, 76, or let me actually give you the exact number as I pull this up. $77.55 a share. As you can see from my current gain loss, I am down. I have 10 shares. I am down $2.12, so a loss of about $20.20, or a loss of just under 3%. Now, it's had a rough week. I'm not going to lie or sugarcoat that whatsoever. Ooh, I apologize for that. It's had a pretty rough week. Rough time trading. A lot of different spikes. This was a spike that this was when I got in over here. Spiked up, came down, spike up. And just kind of testing those highs before earnings, and I have to say, it did have a bit of momentum before the whole earnings week. Move the chart down to a 30-minute 8-day. As you can see, this, let's just put for this last week, and I'll go move it to a 16. Oh, no, I'll actually move it to a 10-minute. As we see, just it ended lower, and it really crushed my heart. We saw the 50-day go across the 21-day moving average, which is a new moving average I've been doing just because I've been seeing a lot of technicians use the 21 moving day average. So I started using that, and we saw that really big cross right here in the 50-day. I mean, the 21-day broke across the 50-day, and you get this huge move down. Once again, the 50-day moving average broke to 20, got another huge move down. It's just, you've been seeing some of the trends have been angling towards the downwards. Now for their earnings numbers, I have it, they are reporting on Tuesday the same as Tesla, so kind of an interesting day for earnings. The mean for the analyst is that they will beat with a profit of 68 cents a share. It's a pretty big number. The high is a beat of 75 cents a share, and the low is actually a beat of 63 cents a share. So they're expecting pretty high earnings for Michael Kors. And another note for this, they have the highest PE multiple of any company within the retail sales department, within the retail sales sector. I apologize. And yeah, so there's the events and the earnings plays I've been looking at for this week. Now I'm going to go on to my position and my positions and like my week overview of what happened. Kind of, Coors was a big loser this week. It actually turned lower for me overall. Starbucks here reported what I thought were very good earnings, but the market did not like them because they barely lost on revenue. I think it was by a couple, like $20 million or something like that, loss on revenue. And I think it's just the market has been going up so much that everyone, if they don't beat exactly the way it is, it's going to go down because they've just had such a big run up in the stock. And this is what I was talking about. This just huge, and this initial downturn, and then you got this upturn. It was just really a roller coaster day. This was the what day did they report? I apologize. It was this day. I remember it because it was just a pretty volatile, rough week for Starbucks. It was a heart crusher, I have to say. I was actually pretty happy that they got all the way up to $81 because they were down, as you can see, in the low. In the $78 range. It's been staying in this range for a while now. Let me go to a 10-minute multi 2-week chart. It's been in this kind of 78.50 support. 78.50 seems to be the support because you see it hits there, goes up, hits, just been bouncing off that. The 21-day has been pretty bouncing, and then you have the 50-day moving average, hitting those downturns. And up here we actually saw it have a bullish crossover, came up, so you had this initial uptick go and do. And you can go and see 200-day moving average is going to start acting as support here in the short run. Yeah, it's going to start acting into a little bit of support there. But yeah, I was actually pretty happy. Howard Schultz, CEO, talked on the closing bell about their Teavana stores, how they're integrating Teavana. It's going to be a whole separate thing than the actual Starbucks stores, and it's basically just going to be like, the way I think of it and the way I like to explain it is, it's basically like Saks and off Saks, Fifth Avenue stores kind of, except Starbucks and Teavana. So one specializes in coffee, one specializes in tea. That's how you really need to see it, and they are all under just one company, just different names. And also at the Teavana stores, you can go and shop for teas. I'm a huge Teavana fan. I was in Columbus, Ohio, and I went to one of their stores, absolutely loved it. People go and ask you what you need, all the different teas, what you may need to go and help make that tea, since I drink matcha green tea. One of the ladies there asked me if I needed a whisk, because you're supposed to whisk matcha green tea. But overall, it's going to be, I think, ignite a massive future for Starbucks. AIG had a loss, and this was if Starbucks was a heart crusher, this one was a soul crusher, I have to say. Look at the 5-minute chart. As you can see, they missed on earnings, and it was a 6% drop. It was a rough Friday when the market opened. It was just down 6% on a holdings. I thought they were going to beat on earnings. They did not. I wish I had cash on the sidelines to actually go in and buy it. I have about, I'll give you the exact number if you, just 1 second, I have $425 in reserve, but that's because I keep $10 in of just margin. I wish I would have had more money off to the side. I could have bought some more AIG because I think it's only going up from here. They actually posted a beat on earnings itself. Its revenue got them. Barron's had an article out this weekend that talked about the AIG turnaround. How earnings weren't too big of a big deal. I really do think that if you if you didn't get into this, I think it's only going to go up from here. I think it's been on a huge momentum tear. If we look at the 60-minute, we're going to expand this. 60-minute for the 10 weeks, it's just been tearing it up. Huge spike right here, but just been tearing it up recently. I think this is just the drop it needed. Actually, way down to where that first candlestick is, that up candlestick right there. I think it's just the drop it needed for it to just continue higher. And which brings me to an interesting day, because AIG reported on Thursday, which led to this absolutely terrible drop on Friday, this 6% drop. What actually happened was I was down most of the day because of AIG. I was down 1.3%, and it absolutely stung terribly. And then something interesting happened with Fannie Mae, which seems to be saving the day for me on a hedging basis a lot. As we can see, not a whole lot of interesting things until you get to the end of the day, where it actually ended up almost 6%. Let me give you the exact number. Here, it closed up almost. It closed up exactly 5.49%. So that's an increase of 39 cents a share. I mean, I had 100 shares, and it basically offset my losses for AIG that day, and it only made it so I was down 0.3%, because both Starbucks and Michael Kors were down a pretty penny. But I mean, it just felt amazing to be down just 0.3% instead of 0.15%, which I was down most of the day, as well as 1.3 and 1.5%. I'm sorry. And Fannie Mae has just recently just been on a complete and utter tear. I think it's probably starting to get to the frothy levels at around $8. I'm gonna ride it up there. I really don't see why not. I mean, I'm gonna be diligent in taking profits. I'm at a almost 20% profit right now in them, and I just recently actually got into them again this Tuesday or Wednesday, and I got 40 shares. So because I sold half my position later on, that was my position update earlier this last month, and so I rebought some shares back, and it's just been keep going. It's been a fantastic stock. I got 40 shares in it at $7. So I already have a nice little profit on just that alone. I think that's going to be it. I realize this is going to be just about a 20-minute video, so I'm going to cut myself off right now. I thank everyone for following me on Twitter, following my blog, following me on StockTwits. And if you have any questions and or comments, please send them. Please comment on the videos. Please send me an email. You can find my email on my blog. If not, it's it's Will Hassel, capital WNH on the Will and Hassel, ws@mail.com. I think that'll be it. I'll see you next week, guys.